How much money do you have to make in order to afford a 2025 BMW X5 lease payment? Well, in this video, I'm going to cover a few different resources and articles to help answer this question. So right now I am on the Kelley Blue Book website, and their article suggests that your car payment, car note, plus your insurance, fuel, maintenance, repairs, etc. should all equate to about 20% of your take-home pay or slightly below that. And really they go down into the frequently asked questions section, and they start to recommend more like 10 to 15% of your net monthly income, and that's kind of what I personally agree with as well. So now let's take a look at the numbers regarding the BMW X5. So personally, on this channel, I am partnered with a company known as AutoCompanion, who is one of the largest car brokers in the United States. And so the prices that I'm showing you here for a new X5, this is going to be the absolute cheapest price that you can get for a new vehicle for the most part in the United States, because his partner dealerships are offering 10% off the MSRP before incentives. So these deals are going to be below invoice, and we're looking at pretty much base model vehicles here. But I'll talk more about AutoCompanion, his deals, how you can get them towards the end of this video. Right now, let's just go through the numbers here. So on AutoCompanion's website, he's got this built-in calculator. You can build your own deal for a 3-year lease with the lowest annual mileage, 7,500 miles, in a state like Pennsylvania, which has a tax rate of 9%, without applying any additional rebates, putting no money down aside from your first month's payment due at the start. A base X5 4DI, it's going to run you $1,058.28 per month. Okay, again, that includes all of your fees and taxes. It's all rolled in to that payment. And what does Kelley Blue Book say? Well, you shouldn't be spending any more than 10 to 20% of your net monthly income for your car payment, and they also include the fuel, the insurance, any potential property taxes, etc. So being the average adult in the average city, you can kind of estimate maybe $200 a month for insurance, maybe about another $200 a month for fuel, since this is a lease and you're probably not driving a lot. But keep in mind, you do have to put premium fuel in these X5s, so $200. I mean, these things, it's going to depend, but let's just go with that for now. And if you live in a state where they charge you a monthly or a yearly property tax, then we can maybe include another $50 to $100. So all in, let's just say insurance, tax, fuel, it's going to be about an additional $500. So this X5, it's really costing us $1,558.28 per month. So to have that payment be 10% of your monthly take-home pay, you should be bringing in about $15,580 a month. Or if you want to kind of go towards that 20%, then you should be making at a bare minimum $7,790 a month in order to afford the cheapest X5 on a lease from a car broker offering a substantial discount below invoice without any marked up money factor / interest. So that's your answer. But again, that's for a very basic model, and that's for the xDrive 4DI model. Now a base model plug-in hybrid X5, that's going to lease out for $1,115.52 a month. And if you want the V8 M60i model, that's going to lease out for $1,420.83 per month. Now on AutoCompanion's website, there are certain additional incentives that you can add, like Conquest. If you currently own a competing luxury vehicle like Mercedes, Lexus, Audi, etc., then you can get an additional $1,000 in lease cash that stacks on top of everything we just discussed, so that can bring the payment down a bit further. Initially, I did not include this because not everyone might qualify for such an incentive. And you can get a similar incentive if you qualify for BMW loyalty as well. So that does help bring down the monthly payments by just a bit, but not by much. You're still going to have to make between $7,500 to about $15,000 a month to afford the regular X5 and the regular base model plug-in hybrid X5. And if you want that V8 model, you should be making closer to $10,000 to $20,000 a month on average. Now, AutoCompanion also offers a free leasing calculator, which I will have linked below. This is a very powerful tool because you can run your own numbers and it shows you the interest rate of a lease, the residual values, and the incentives that you can get in your local zip code. So you can really customize the numbers here. And on average, a well-equipped xDrive 40i X5, it's going to be about $81,000. So with the same discounts, you run numbers on that, that's going to set you back $1,239.41 per month. So nearly $200 more than a base model xDrive 40i. But you have to ask yourself, do you drive a lot? What truly is your insurance rate in your local area? I mean, I've seen some people pay $500-600 a month for their insurance on luxury vehicles similar to this, and that means these vehicles can be less feasible depending on where you live. And if you genuinely do not drive a lot, you have to ask yourself, do you want an expensive paperweight sitting on your driveway? And also, what kind of income are you producing? Is it just a regular W-2 income from a job, or do you run a business? Because $100K made through a business and $100K made through a regular job are two completely different incomes. I'm not going to go through the details of that in this video. You can talk to your own accountant regarding that, but a regular salary employee, they are not really justified in going out and getting the latest vehicles, the latest phone, the latest MacBook, etc. They should technically be a bit more conservative with their money. Again, nothing that I'm saying in this video is financial advice. We're just running some numbers for entertainment purposes only. Plus, of course, there's a million other factors to take into consideration when purchasing a vehicle of this caliber. Are you single? Are you married? Do you have the dual incomes? Do you have any children? Ideally, right, you should be having dual incomes, 2 people in the house making about $7,500 a month for a combined $15,000 take home. Then you can comfortably afford things like this X5, and it could be about 10% of your net monthly income. And at that point, a vehicle like this becomes a very small part of your world. And if someone does happen to, God forbid, lose their job, or if their business income kind of slips a bit, it's not really a big deal. But if you're just like, maybe one person making $7,500, then yeah, I mean, technically you can make it work. That's like the bare minimum that you should be making to afford this, but you still got to eat. You probably have a mortgage, at least hopefully you own a home, right? I'm assuming you probably purchased the home first and then you're buying a vehicle like this and not the other way around. And on average, if you bought a home recently in the past, 3 to 4 years, your mortgage and the interest rate that you got is probably crazy high, and you're on average probably paying at least $2,000 a month, if not more. So if you're just one person making $7,500, you have approximately this $1,500 car note, including your insurance, gas, etc. And $7,500 minus $1,500, it's about 6 G's. If you have a house and you're paying $2,000 on that, then you're left with $4,000 a month, maybe $1,000 for groceries, so $3,000, and maybe just an extra $1,000 for utilities, phone bills, other things. So you're left with maybe $1,500, $2,000 at the end of every month for savings / investing purposes. That's not bad. That's why it's wise for this to at least be 20% of your income. But it gets a bit more complicated if you have kids, because now you have to save for their future and their college funds, etc. So just a lot of different variables at play here. Also, the build and the model is something to take into consideration as well. But if you are someone who can comfortably afford a vehicle like the new X5 and you would like to purchase this at a deep discount, then I will have AutoCompanion's website and his free leasing calculator linked in the description box of this video. AutoCompanion is primarily located in the Washington, D.C. area, although I am aware that AutoCompanion has some dealerships in California as well. So if you're local to those areas, you can pick it up and save on the shipping costs, because he is able to ship nationwide, but of course shipping is something you have to pay extra for. And he does charge a broker fee to access these deals, which on his website seems to be about $999. He did say that if you mention my channel, Meyn Motor Group, he will take some money off of his broker fee, which is nice. But if you're the type of person that steps on a dollar to pick up a penny, then I don't know what to tell you. There are some people that hear, oh, well, I don't want to pay the broker fee and shipping and all these things, but completely disregard the savings that they are getting, then maybe this is just not for you. And certainly if you are not making the income that I suggested in this video, then you should definitely not reach out for a vehicle like this. Maybe look into some of the other brands that he has to offer. Again, if you are wanting to work with AutoCompanion. Once again, of course, you can save on the shipping if you pick up locally. And for the most part, even if you did have to pay shipping and his broker fee, let's just say you paid $1,000 for the shipping, so an additional $2,000, you're still pretty much getting these vehicles below invoice. And you can see the invoice price of most vehicles on a website like JD Power. So that's another resource that you can check out. And of course, in this video, we talked about leasing. If you wanted to finance a vehicle, you can of course just Google car payment calculator, and I would recommend the website called calculator.net. That's a pretty well-designed car payment calculator. But really, why do I focus in on leasing for a vehicle like this? Well, that's because this is a luxury product. You know, things like the X5, they are going to tank in value, and the repairs outside of a warranty period, I'm sure you already know, it's going to be an absolute nightmare. It's best to keep these vehicles under its warranty period, ideally under a lease, to protect you from any future negative equity, right? So in 3 years, you're not, $10,000, $15,000 upside down on this vehicle. You can just turn in the keys to the BMW dealership, keep it in good condition, and you can just walk away. That way you can prevent those crazy horror stories that you see on YouTube or TikTok, whatever, where people say things like, oh, they're $10,000, $15,000 underwater on their luxury vehicle, or sometimes even on their non-luxury vehicle. So that's good. And of course, AutoCompanion's free calculator will show you the interest rate of the lease. Things like lease programs, interest rates, incentives, these things, they do change and update every month. AutoCompanion's calculator, his website, and of course the manufacturer website, all of these things will also update every month. A few more closing thoughts here. No, I do not think that leasing is always the answer. Sometimes the interest rate of a lease tends to be rather high for certain manufacturers during certain months. It can be upwards of 7-8%, and that is ridiculous. In the case of these BMWs, it's about 4.3% to about 5%. That typically tends to be the range, and that's been that way for a while now. And if you look on BMW's website, they also have a promotional finance rate of 1.99% for 4 years. That is pretty good. So that is certainly a good alternative to consider. Although something that I did not discuss in this video is a concept called MSDs, or multiple security deposits, and a one-pay lease. Doing either one of those things will pretty much cut your interest rate of a lease almost in half. So with a BMW lease, you'll be nearly about 2.5% on the interest rate of the lease. And MSDs, that's essentially a refundable deposit that you get back at the end of your lease when you turn in the vehicle, or if you decide to sell the vehicle early, then BMW will refund that MSD back to you. And the purpose of doing that MSD, or making all your payments upfront through a one-pay lease, is to once again cut that interest rate. So I like that flexibility that leasing has to offer. And anytime I can make a lease work, I would much rather do it over a traditional finance due to the residual protection that you get. And of course, your monthly payments are a bit less, on average about $500 less compared to that 1.9% finance for 48 months, that base model xDrive 40i model. And no, leasing is not always fleecing. You are still building equity in the vehicle. So when you are getting those low interest rate leases, you're building equity just like you are with a regular finance. So at the end of the lease, you are able to buy out the vehicle if you want to, although that doesn't always make sense. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Regardless though, that's why it's imperative that you know the numbers, you know the mechanics of leasing, the interest rate, the residual values. If you don't know these things, you should never lease a vehicle. And another thing to note, if you don't understand something, don't do it. If even after I showed you all of these numbers and calculators, and if the numbers simply do not make sense to you, don't do it. Do the finance, or even pay cash if that's just easier for you and you have the means to do that. Although the problem with paying cash and the cash mentality people is they typically don't understand the meaning of opportunity cost. But at the same time, if you're asking yourself, oh, what opportunity? I don't have any other opportunities with my cash. I'm not going to invest it anywhere. If your money is serving you no other purpose, then sure, you can pay cash for a vehicle, but almost anyone can open up one of those high rate savings accounts. Typically they're between 3.5%, 4%. So you can just put your money in there. But if you don't even like to do that, then sure, you can pay cash at that point. But if you're one of these obtuse people with like a $10 million net worth and you're saying, oh, I pay cash for everything, good for you. This video is not meant for someone like you. You can literally go out and buy 3 X5s, blow up 2 of them, and your financial situation would not change. Or you can finance 3 X5s at 30% interest. Once again, your circumstance has not changed. I'm not talking to the $10 million net worth individuals. I'm talking to a relatively high income earner, and to educate people as to about how much money they should be making to afford, these types of vehicles, and to scale those numbers down lower or higher, depending on the type of vehicle that they are looking into. So I just wanted to share all of this as a resource. You can do what you want with this information. No, I do not suggest people going out and buying things that they do not need or going into debt for things that they do not need. This is primarily for the people that have the means, have the income, and they are in the market for these types of vehicles anyway. I want to share with those individuals a way in which they can get these products under invoice. To the rest, you can of course apply this same information to much more affordable products. One of my most favorite affordable vehicles would be things from the Mazda brand. That's another company that offers not only great lease programs, but their finance rates are pretty good. And if you wanted to pay cash for a car, some of those base model Mazdas are worth looking into as well. I believe AutoCompanion does offer Mazda deals. But thanks again for watching this video. Take care and goodbye.